This is not the city of Ember, people. And even if it was, look what happened to them.
Oh! This video is brought to you by our Dining on a Dime cookbook. We have quick and easy recipes your family will love to help you get in and out of the kitchen fast. Please visit us at livingonadime.com. It's 25% off now. Today, I want to beg you to stop listening to stupid prepping advice. Okay, guys, so I know I'm going to get a lot of flack for this. I get a lot of flack for all my prepping videos, but I just have to put this warning out here. Please stop listening to stupid prepping advice. In my video, which I'll link up here, on 10 things you should never stockpile long term, I say in there that you should not long-term stockpile flour and crackers and peanut butter and a few other things. Every single day, we get a comment from preppers who say, well, I can flour all the time. You can dry can flour in the oven and it lasts for 20 years. You can dry can crackers and they'll last for 20 years. Listen, that kind of advice is just plain stupid. I know, I'm getting tough here, but I am tired of this kind of misinformation going around and freaking out people thinking they have to go around canning flour and crackers. It's absolutely ridiculous. Here's the thing. Grandma never, ever, ever canned flour or crackers. Why? Because it's a huge waste of time, a huge waste of resources. Why would you waste valuable canning jars on flour and crackers?
Because you have a lot of money that you don't really need and a whole lot of time.
Okay, so this is where, thank you for that segue. Stop doing things like that and spend your money instead getting your debt paid off. Pay off your cars, pay off your house, and do real prepping for a financial problem, a financial emergency, that kind of thing. Stop buying 25 years worth of food, which is ridiculous. You see these preppers and they're buying 10, 15, 20, 25 years worth of food. Why? That food may last that long, but I can guarantee you, it's not going to taste good after that long, and you're not going to want to eat it. And if you're spending all your money prepping on food and ammo and guns and those kinds of things, but you're not paying off your house or your car or all your credit cards, you're being a fool to do that. Because if you don't have your house and reliable transportation completely debt-free, when the fecal matter hits the oscillation unit, you are not going to have a house to live in. The bank is going to take your house. And then where are you going to put your 25 years worth of food?
Well, and if you have to buy 25 years worth of food, you don't really know what's going to happen 25 years from now. So anything beyond 5 years worth of planning, I mean, that's still pretty long-term planning.
Well, and you think about it, the longest famine in the Bible was 7 years.
Yeah. Beyond like 5 years, you're probably buying a lot of things that are going to get wasted.
Yeah.
Because it'll taste bad, or it'll go bad, or things will change between now and then that you hadn't anticipated. And then you're going to have all this stuff that you can't use, but the money that you had that you used to buy it with could have been used for a purpose that would benefit you more in the future.
Exactly. Thank you, dear. You said that so well. And so calm and so non-judgmental. Because I know I'm going to get all that.
Well, the thing is, when you have 5 years to figure it out, you will figure out a way that's a lot better than eating 25-year-old canned food.
Yeah. And let me tell you, Grandma did not waste her time and energy canning flour and crackers. She had other things that she spent her time on and wasn't wasting her energy doing that. Now, if your debt is completely 100% paid off, fine. Go ahead and can crackers and flour. I don't care.
It would still be smarter to use the money for something else.
It would definitely be smarter to use the money for something else, like building a root cellar where if you had to grow your potatoes and grow your carrots and that kind of thing, you would be able to store them, longer term than just in your house. But, if you're canning flour and you're canning crackers and your debt isn't paid off, you need to take that time that you're spending doing that and go get another job and pay off your debt.
Well, and things like flour and crackers, if you love canning and it's your hobby and you don't care if you do anything else with your days, you might say, I want to do that. But the reality is flour and crackers, even in bad times, are not usually that hard to get.
Yeah.
And so you're spending a lot of time and a lot of resources to save something that has very little value.
Exactly. And usually it's the least expensive. In all of history and the Depression, all of that, flour was actually one of the cheapest things that you could get. Now, I know people even had a hard time getting flour, but here's the thing. They had mortgages on their houses and they lost their houses because they weren't prepared, because in the early 1900s, it was, a time of plenty and we were all doing great and everything. And then 1929 hit, the fecal matter hit the oscillation unit, and people were in hock up to their eyeballs, and that's when they started losing their houses and their farms, and they could not pay for basics. But those people who were debt-free, you see the Waltons guys, the reason why they were able to make it through the Depression was their house was paid off. Their car was paid off. And in the one scene where they're burning the mortgage because they had to take out a mortgage for something or another, and they're burning the mortgage, it's because they knew that that's the security. That's where the security is. The security wasn't in canned flour and canned crackers. It was in a paid off house.
I hate to use the same old example, but the whole give a man a fish or teach him to fish. Canning crackers is basically like keeping the fish as opposed to investing in something that you're going to be able to make useful if times are bad.
Yeah.
Like we know if times are bad, we can survive. What we also know is that the really hard time will be the first few months if something really went that bad. But after that, we would be able to figure something out.
Yeah.
And so rather than spend all the time gathering all the fish now, it'd be better to learn the skills that you need to be able to be okay in that.
Yeah.
Because then you can be okay in any kind of situation that's unexpected.
Yeah. And don't think we're naive. When we talked about paying off our house, and everybody's like, well, you still have to pay taxes and insurance.
You got to pay that when you have a mortgage.
You have to pay that when you have a mortgage, people.
But why pay that plus the mortgage?
Use your brain. So here's the thing. We get comments every single day that my assistant and I delete because it's just stupidity in prepping. Use your brain. Listen to people who actually make sense. If you sit there and say, I need to can flour, that's something, that's your common sense telling you, maybe I need to think about this a little bit and find other ways to prep that are maybe more practical.
Well, and basically, if you already kind of know how to do all the things and you're in place and you just have nothing to do with yourself, no hobbies, nothing else, and you want to spend all of your days
and all your money
and all of your money canning flour and crackers, go ahead. The reality is, half the time, if you buy 25 years worth of food or sock it away, you'll be dead before the time comes to use it.
Or something will happen and the can will rust and then the food will be spoiled or something like that. So guys, when you're prepping, please use common sense. And if you have red bells going on listening to if you have bells going off listening to some of these preppers, there's a reason why. We do basic prepping. I'm not in the hardcore prepping, but we do basic prepping, just trying to get people through the next flood, the next hurricane, the next tornado, the next job loss, the next supposed pandemic, whatever we got going on this year. That's the problem. People aren't prepared at all. And so we just want you to start getting prepared, but don't go crazy and listening to some of these people who are saying, can your flour and can your crackers.
Well, particularly when she's talking about if you hear the bells going off or flashing red lights or whatever, if the motivation is people are afraid and people are saying what if and trying to anticipate every possible outcome, you just can't anticipate every possible outcome.
You can't be afraid of everything.
Fear will destroy you. But if you just give yourself enough opportunity to think and use your brain when you get into that situation, then all the rest of that will be unnecessary.
Yeah.
So then do everything you can to make your life right now so that you are prepared for, because we don't say prepare for this and prepare for that, and what if the zombie apocalypse happens, and what if there's a nuclear attack? We just say, how can we be prepared so that any kind of unexpected thing, we can pretty much roll through it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the big thing is, stop being afraid of everything. Every little conspiracy theory does not mean it's true.
Yeah, you'll die of an anxiety attack from following all the conspiracies.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, so anyway, guys, please visit us at livingonadime.com. If you want to can your flour, you go right ahead. But for the rest of us who are normal preppers, you don't have to can flour to be prepped. We just want you to know that. We will see you guys next time, livingonadime.com.